Alright guys, check this crap out. Cannot make this up. This week our bottle hunting takes us to the Alabama-Mississippi state line, where a creek is rumored to be full of old glass. Not just any old glass, but rare Hutchinson style bottles. The rumor was more than enough to justify the 2-hour drive, so we hit the road and then we hit the water. Okay, we're swimming. Ooh. Did you find a limb? Oh, I could touch again. The big log. Oh man, yeah, it got deep fast. Definitely on the right path, guys. Check this out right here. That one's slick and that one's slick, but it'd be nice if I had a little town on it. I think that we will find something even more awesome here in a minute. Check out this turtle, guys. I'm gonna put you underwater to take a look at him. He may be a snapping turtle, I can't tell. So I'm not gonna reach down and pick him up. Got excited when I saw this. I thought it was gonna be a blue poison, just a Bromo, and it just broke. But that's all right though. Still washed up on this sandbar right here, which means that there's probably ample more where that came from. Starting to tease us a little bit. Y'all know what this is? That is a Werner Safe bottle. So that's pretty neat. Definitely still in our time bracket that we want to be in to find the hutches. So we'll just keep on going, see what else we can find. Check that out. That is an old straight side Coke. That is an old sucker right there.
Maybe Wyatt and Brothers or something. I don't know.
That'd have been nice. We're in an old section right here. It's looking really good. Whew. Creek got deep. And no more sandbars, so we are kind of tromping through the woods right through here, hoping for the best that there's no snakes or poison ivy. I've done had one really bad bout with it this year, so hopefully that's enough for me. Looks like it opens up right here. Check that out, guys. He found a whole Bromo up on the bank, and that 1915 extremely rare Beham variant.
Of course it's broken.
It's enough to make you sick, that's for sure. There's a lot of stuff out here underneath these rocks, you know there is. Here's a bottle right here. I don't know how old it is, but check this out. Oh, it's new. Fail. Check this out.
Got a clear and a cobalt ink well.
This little ink bottle inspired me to do some research. Not knowing anything about Waterman or its products, I was fascinated by what I found. Lewis Edison Waterman was working as a pen salesman in New York for a new company founded in the spring of 1883. This company was run by a volatile inventor named Frank Holland. Holland abandoned his company after only 6 weeks. That is when Waterman stepped in and took over, fitting the pens with a simplified feed of his own design. It was for this 3-Fisher feed which his first pen-related patent was granted in 1884. From the beginning, competition in the fountain pen industry was fierce, both in the marketplace and in the courtroom. Despite later company literature that depicts Lewis Waterman as a golden-hearted innocent, all evidence indicates that he was a tough, savvy, and innovative businessman. Being in the pen business, it only made sense for him to get into the ink business as well. Sadly, it was after Waterman's death in 1901 that the company finally took off. Under the leadership of Waterman's nephew, Frank, the Waterman Pen Company expanded aggressively worldwide. He registered a dozen or more patents for his ideal ink or fountain pen. Very few bottles were patented by this company. Collectors find more machine-made ink bottles than ink bottles with tooled tops for this company. While Waterman introduced its share of innovations, the company's main selling point was always quality and reliability. By the late 1920s, Waterman was attempting to catch up. It continued to struggle through and beyond World War II, before finally shutting down in 1954.
Alright, here's something right here. Let's see what it was. Get over here to the water and wash it off. It was Dr. Pepper. Here's another one right here. Let's see how old it is. Oh. Probably 20s. Alright guys, check this crap out. Cannot make this up. I know it's a Columbus Ice Company. Wow. Beautiful bottle. Check that out, Clayton.
That is killer.
Dude, that's so cool, man. Tombstone, no damage either, is it?
That was great.
Holy crap. You ever find something and you just can't believe how you found it? Well, this is probably one of the craziest finds for me, because every hutch that I found so far has been underwater or at least touching the water. This one was actually out of the water, and that's because the water levels are so low right now. But it just really surprised me. You can see where it was in the dirt for a good while. It just amazes me how good shape it's in. Look how clean that lip is on that bottle. This is an 1890s bottle, so it's been rolling around for 130 years in a creek, and this is going to clean up awesome. Hang on just a second, I'll show you what it looks like cleaned up. "48 hours later, and it looks awesome. This is one of the cleanest that I've ever got out of the tumbler out of the creek. That's amazing. That is amazing, guys. I could not be happier. Alright, I wanted to do a bit of a follow-up on how I clean this bottle. Every week I have people ask me about how we clean our bottles and all of the different methods that we use. This is kind of my tried and true method that works for me. I know a lot of people have really nice tumbler setups. I just couldn't justify spending several $100s on a tumbler, so I kind of rigged one up that works good enough for me. And I will tell you how I did that. Now, I've done this in a previous video that's got a good bit of views, but I'm going to do this as a follow-up to that. This right here is actually a Harbor Freight rock tumbler, and it would have been a 2-drum tumbler. What I did was I removed both of those drums, and believe it or not, I went and bought some Clorox wipes, and I used the container from the Clorox wipes. And you're probably thinking, well, that's not water resistant, that's gonna leak, and it does. I'll be honest with you, it does leak some. I've tumbled probably 100 or 150 bottles now on this setup, and it works really well. Now you can see over here I have a bowl of copper shavings. Well, I was a machinist for years and years, so I have some connections to get some copper shavings. So what if you don't have a connection to get copper shavings? Well, you can buy them through Jar Doctor. If you look up Jar Doctor, he specializes in bottle tumblers, and you can buy the shavings, I think, on eBay or directly off of his website as well by the pound. They're not cheap. They're like $8 or $10 a pound. That's probably about 8 or 9 pounds right there. So that'd have been $100 in copper shavings. Luckily, like I said, I have some connections. So what do I do when I go to tumble a bottle? Well, obviously, being a bottle digger, I have a lot of stuff that's on deck. Excuse my mess. I pick a bottle that I'm going to put in there. Say I want to put this one in there. I put just enough copper shavings into the bottom of this to where the bottle will have just a little bit to sit on. I set it down on top of the copper shavings, and then I fill in the copper shavings around it. When I get through with that, I fill it with water, the inside of the bottle, and around it with water. And I take a squirt of the Simple Green hand cleaner and just put it in there. Then I put the lid, snap it back on, and usually what I do, because of it not being water resistant, and again, this isn't ideal, it just works for me, I take some duct tape and just kind of put it around the edge of it. Then I throw it onto the tumbler and fire it up and let it run. 48 hours later, I remove the lid, then I remove the bottle, and it looks just like that Columbus hutch that I showed y'all. So there again, this setup works for me. It's not ideal, but I felt like I needed to show y'all how I do that, just so you don't think that I miraculously get clean bottles. It takes a good bit of work. But I will say this, Jar Doctor sells a really good tumbler. You're going to spend a good bit of money for it, but it's going to be a tumbler that will polish your bottles and not just clean them. This setup right here, there's nothing to keep your bottles centered, and a lot of people are like, man, how do you keep your bottle centered? Well, it really doesn't stay centered. It may go to one side or the other. The Jar Doctor tumblers all come with something that's called stopples, and basically it's like a rubber grommet that's shaped like a cone that goes into the tip of your bottle, and one that holds the back side of the bottle, and it keeps it centered inside of it, so you keep the same amount of copper shavings on both sides of the bottle at all times. Gives you a much more even finish. Also, there's different grit kind of compounds that you pour into the container as you're tumbling it. The finer grit gives you the higher polish. There again, I'm using a rigged setup. I cannot stress this enough, so I just use this that has a really rough grit to knock the dirt off. So my setup is to clean the dirt off, clean the inside of the bottle out, and make it look better than when I found it. It is not to polish a bottle. I repeat, it is not. So, if you want to build one of these, how much does it cost to buy everything? Clorox wipes are $7 or $8. Obviously, use those first or let your wife use them. You can buy some of the hand cleaner at Lowe's or Home Depot for $3 or $4. Like I said, $60 for that. So for less than $75, you can be up and tumbling, minus the copper. Now, I have seen people use copper BBs like you put in a BB gun, and that works pretty well. That's just something to kind of think about if you wanted to try that. But I've never done it myself, so I can't say. I hope this is helpful to somebody. I hope that this is something that you may want to try. It's worked really well for me for the last 2 years. I hope that y'all enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one.